The great theologian J.I. Packer, I believe, read 2 books every year for decades. One of them, The Pilgrim's Progress, which is certainly one of my favorites. I'm on my sixth reread, because seventh read of that book. And The Brothers Karamazov, which I read a couple decades ago. Have not read since, but plan on doing so in the future. In that book, Dostoevsky famously said, "If there is no God, then all things are permitted." And I've wondered about this. It just pesters and nags me quite a bit to think about how atheists make sense of someone like a Jeffrey Epstein. You know, why the problem? If he can get away with it, and, you know, it might be unsavory, it might not be quite the style that the person, the atheist has. They might think it's just kind of generally wrong to do that to a minor. But what is the basis for that? And again, I'm not saying, you know, certainly atheists can be great neighbors, pay their taxes, have wonderful marriages, be moral, and do a lot of good things. I certainly believe that because of the common grace of God. But the question of why, and really not only why, but what is the basis for that why? And so what happens when the calculus becomes that the pain in my life is greater than the pleasure, and it seems like part of the pain in my life is being moral, and there's no basis for being moral, then what do? What am I left with? If there's no animating or transcendent power, namely God, who's telling me to stick in there and hang in there through thick and thin and to persevere because it honors him, what do I do when I don't have that, when I don't have the basis for that? So I've often wondered about this. It's a curious thing to me that there aren't more non-Christians and skeptics and atheists who don't seem to feel the force of this. And again, the argument's not, can an atheist or a skeptic be a moral person in a generally, socially acceptable way? That's obviously the case. But why? And what is the basis for that? And that really nags, especially when I think about what happens, again, when the pain starts to exceed the pleasure in one's life and they go, I'm not sure being moral is really worth it.